Welcome to IHIP News. So, Pumps, it looks like Pete Hegseth is in trouble, and you have to be a really bad person, really bad, for all of the flea bags that are down at Mar-a-Lago to think maybe you need to step aside.
Yeah, I just wonder, what was it that pushed it over the edge? The sexual assault allegations, the mismanagement of funds, the fact that his nonprofits had to shut down because they were in debt. Was
that he's not qualified, maybe?
Not qualified, but he is telegenic, which seems to be the qualifying remark. And then I heard comment that, well, it's the drunkenness. You know, Trump just hates drunk people. And I'm like, okay, so it's not the assault. It's not that he's unqualified, not mismanagement of funds, not that he's a grifter, not that he says kill Muslims, not that he has white supremacy tattoos. None of that. It's the fact that he has horrible public drunkenness behavior. So, I mean, which is it? I don't know.
Well, of course, it's none of the stuff that you mentioned before, because you just described every member of MAGA.
Right.
With all of those things. Every single person that's involved with MAGA has already said, we're completely fine with what you deem to be character defects. We deem to be assets to our party. So, exactly. But now he's floating Governor Ron DeSantis, whom we call kitten heels because, you know, he has to wear little booster shoes. But I think it's interesting that Trump would float DeSantis to be the head of the Department of Defense when Trump himself nicknamed DeSantis Tiny D. And so I just don't understand the mental gymnastics that you go through where you see this dipshit that has to wear their little booster shoes.
Right.
And he wore those white, rain boots that he wore where he looked like a total asshole walking around Florida. And then you nickname him Tiny D. And then you think, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll put him in charge of the most lethal military force on the planet. So I was like, okay, what's the deal here? He's transactional. So did a little digging. And, Trump really likes his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, for whatever reason, because I think she helped him, this is my opinion, divert funds from the RNC to just funnel straight in to fund him.
I agree.
And she wants to be senator. She wants to be senator from Florida. And so I think that's what he's trying to finagle is, look, Tiny D, you can be the Secretary of Defense if on your way out you give Lara she can be a United States Senator. That's what the whole angle is. It's a total transaction. But I want to remind everybody, if you go back into our catalog, when we interviewed Michael Cohen, Michael said originally when Eric married Lara, Trump hated her and called her horseface. I just wanted to point that. So what do you think about Tiny D?
Here's the thing. I, too, thought it was weird. Why is he coming after him? Because he shunned him on the campaign trail and everything. It makes perfect sense that he would want Lara to be in the Senate because she's a yes man. I agree with you on the deferring of funds. Here's why there's a part of me that kind of digs it. And here's why. I think DeSantis is every bit as transactional and narcissistic as Trump. So I think he would easily stab Trump in the back for his own gain if he thought it would help his political career advance. So I think there's something interesting about that versus a Pete Hegseth who's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants and be drunk and not give a fuck.
Don't forget that Ron DeSantis is a very, very dangerous pick.
Yeah.
Because he has subverted the rule of law of the Florida state constitution. He kidnapped migrants and staged a whole thing. He sent his own military, National Guard, State Guard, whatever, to the Texas border. He's a very dangerous person to be in charge of the military. I think he's more dangerous than Trump with his evil ambition because Trump gets so blinded by his own ego that it's difficult for him to stay on track. DeSantis is really, really an evil person that really enjoys, in a very sociopathic way, demeaning other human beings and using them as political theater to score points and playing like he's Mr. Tough Guy. I think he has short man syndrome.
Yeah.
And he was never, he got into an Ivy League school, but nobody's ever really liked him because, let's face it, he's not likable.
No,
he tried to run. Nobody liked him on the national stage. He's able to pull this shit in Florida, but you put him on a national stage and it does not work. I think he is an incredibly dangerous pick to be Department Secretary of Defense. I think that the Republican establishment will go with it more because he's a governor of a big state, but he has been a horrific governor and he does not care about the rule of law. And he kidnapped migrants and sent them to another state. It's just, this guy's a really dangerous, sick person.
Yeah, the migrant thing is so jaw-dropping. I still cannot believe that happened. Between he and Greg Abbott, I just don't know who's worse. I kind of think DeSantis a little bit. I don't know. It's a tough contest because I think one of Trump's big deals is he wants to be able to say, I don't like something you're doing. If it's a protest, if it's some kind of outpouring against him, I don't think he has any problem saying, turn the military on U.S. citizens. And I think he's wanting a Secretary of Defense that will do that.
Here's the part that everybody needs to remember about Trump. He campaigned on the enemy from within. When he was president before, when there were the George Floyd protests, he wanted to have the military shoot the protesters, peaceful protesters, so he could walk across the street with his Bible. And, there was a guardrail, and you can't do that. DeSantis will do that. He is all about this imaginary war on the woke and this bullshit, the woke mind virus, that all of these people that spend all of their time on Facebook and then watching Fox News, they think that there is some big threat out there of this imaginary woke mind virus. It's just stupid, paranoid people that are lonely and broken. And that's their party. But the language of the enemy from within, especially in the closeout of Trump's campaign, we're all in a very precarious position because the enemy from within are people like you and me, or people that comment on this video in a positive way. I agree with everything you say. There is a party in the United States that think that this freedom to be a critical thinker, to offer a differing view, is an enemy that needs to be addressed, much like a threat with a foreign adversary would need to be addressed. And DeSantis is the perfect little, and I emphasis on little, tiny D, tiny D, yes man, to do that kind of crap for Trump. Look at his bullshit, bravado, blowhard shit he did with Disney.
Yeah, the Disney thing is just all of it, all the shit he did. Everything about him is bad. I do agree with you. While Pete Hegseth is completely incompetent, I think DeSantis has an evil brain. I think he's smarter than the average bear, and I think he would use that to hurt Americans, and he would enjoy it.
This is how dangerous we are with the upcoming inauguration with Trump. Is we're sitting here deciding, would we rather have an incompetent drunk to head the Department of Defense, or an evil sociopath to head the Department of Defense? That's where we are. There are no good options here. And I think DeSantis, you're splitting hairs, but I think DeSantis is a horrific pick. There's the petty part of me will enjoy him having to kiss, Donald Trump's ring and all of this, because he just, he can't stand him.
Him.
Trump can't stand him. He calls him Tiny D. He'll bash him behind his back, yak, blah, blah. But the DeSantises of the world, he's smart enough to be super dangerous, and that is really horrible.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.